Now then, rider progress summary for Jordan Larkin. The track is Kirkistown in the north of Ireland. And we're looking at the difference currently between his qualifying session in the dry and his last race of the afternoon. Then particular focus is turn 1 for the moment. It seems to be a place for everybody to make improvement. Jordan was a reference for the entire group for a long time. And I just want to test the difference. So there was a difference initially of 8k an hour in turn 1 between what he did in qualifying and what he did in the race. That's great being in a freight train, by the way. So just the fact that there was 4 or 5 guys in a big string just going through there as fast as they could. I was watching this race at the pit wall, and turn 1 is phenomenal when you look down there. Serious aggressive riding. Better apex in there. This is turn 2, so getting stronger in there. Not much else to come from it in the race. Perhaps you're shifting. If I just zoom in there, see here, little bobbles in the GPS trace. They might indicate shifting. They don't definitely indicate shifting, but right there, the speed is the same. It's 83 for 83 getting onto the power, right? However, it looks like there's massive importance in getting your shift timing perfect. Now, I'm just looking at, there might be a shift there, there could be one here, and there could be one there, but there's a little diamond there, there's a tiny little diamond there, and one here. It might indicate shifting. But if he arrived in the last corner with an extra 3k an hour, right, and by the way, that was nearly for the whole duration of 6th gear, it might be down to the fact that the shifting was perfectly timed. So where was peak power? Let's say it was something like 13,000 RPM. It means he's shifting at peak power every time he gets there. Bang, shift, get it back to peak torque and drive through the power band, So, yeah, pretty good. Nice little bit to come from that. Going to get rid of qualifying now. What I want to actually look at is where we can go faster, especially for Jordan. The purple lap this time is actually Jack Caldwell. So I'm just going to start off this analysis. Jack rolls off the throttle early going into turn 1, but just by having good momentum ends up with, on the roll-in, he's got an extra 8k an hour there, right? And at the apex, he holds that 8k, so that literally keeps that gap there. Now, if you look at the time compare graph down here, that actually equals about negative 0.1 seconds. By the time the two guys have driven out of there, by the way, I'll give advice to Jack that he can drive out of here harder, right? But Jack pulled a gap on Jordan of 0.12 seconds in there. Perhaps braking just a little bit early here. That's something that Jack's working on, is his braking markers, but no big deal. But for Jordan, his extra speed going in on the brakes, and then how good he is at driving through turn 1, by the time turn 1's finished, he's actually gained back that time and then some. So it's come back to 0.1, right? So as the line moves down for Caldwell, he's actually pulling a gap on Jordan. And then Jordan's making it back basically here. So what I'm trying to say then is that in turn 1, Caldwell opened up a gap. Jordan got it back on brakes. Then Caldwell opened up a gap again with his drive out down here. Not really massive differences in the line. I don't think so. What I can do is I can come back here. I can press that play button, watch the two guys going in there. I can zoom in a bit, see who's doing what. You'll see Jordan catch up that 0.1 seconds. Going in wider. Two boys don't merge. Caldwell's just tighter. He seems to get good drive out of there. Now Jordan is looking for more power out of his bike. So perhaps that gap is coming back. It's a pinch of opening the throttle early. It's a pinch of opening the throttle early, and it is just a little bit about being perhaps outgunned. So we'll just watch this again. Caldwell now opening up a gap. So I'll pause that. Not much anyway, I mean, you're talking marginal. So in the next instance, if I zoom in here, right, we see Caldwell, although he rolls off the throttle, it is a little bit later than Jordan, so that also gains him a bit of time, and he holds higher apex speeds into the first part of the curb. Mid-corner is the same for the boys. And he has higher apex then driving out of it as well, which helps him open up another gap. I'll get the time compare back now to see what exactly time-wise we're looking at there. Set that as distance base. So with all that work done, the maximum gap now opens up to 2.5 as such. So that's what's doing it for Caldwell. Jordan, however, did get a good drive, and he's very aggressive on the throttle and brings his gap down with a higher drive-in speed as well, by the way, going into the chicane. So he's driving in there a hell of a lot faster. 164.56, so that's 8k faster. That's just because of the confidence getting on the gas coming out of the corner previous, right? And then whatever, it is a race, so we'll forgive Jordan for this. Apex, the timing is good. Both boys are hitting the throttle at the same time. Jordan even catches up marginally on the way out, but to be honest with you, you can see then by the end of the straight that Jack's power is better. He's just pulling and pulling and pulling. He holds higher speed all the way down the straight, even though, but in fairness, like, that's starting from a deficit there. So whatever happened in Jordan's race, he started that straight 6 down, you know, which actually does compound. So not a big deal. I'm going to have a quick look for coasting. So I'm going to get rid of Caldwell's data. Right, I just want to focus on a couple of little summaries here for Jordan. Let me see. So, for example here, 3 brake traces. Right, let's see where that is. Just go back to my lap. Going into the chicane. Now that could be traffic related, but just to be aware that we want to try and pull the brake just once, right? And if anything as well, to be honest with you, he's definitely in the queue with somebody, because he's had to brake twice there as well. And that's going in there. So he's had to brake twice going in there. Right, you can see it there, brake 1, brake 2, and here. So I'm hoping that it's not a trend and it is traffic. But if it is a trend, just be aware of that then, that we just want to brake one time heading into a corner, nice and steady. Don't drop the brakes. Sorry, it's this part of the track here we're looking at. So there's 3 occurrences of that. So we have a double brake, a triple brake. All right, we don't want that. Now, how about coasting? I've got to pan across, my bad. So that's looking like turn 1 there. Yeah, nearly no coasting. That's pretty good. Like, all the way to that point in the lap there, there's literally 6 meters of coasting, which is effectively nothing. And the coast here where the triple brake is starts at 10, goes out to 16. That's acceptable, that's fine. Like, there's not much in that, you know. And likely, like I said, he's in traffic. So yeah, no problems there, pretty good. Little acceleration here. Right, just want to see where that is. Let's go back and get this part of the lap. Yep, that's acceptable. You would be trying to get around there. Instead of having to accelerate a little bit, you could just drive in there hotter, clip past the curb, run it deep, turn the bike midway through here and punch it out, clipping the curb on the exit as well. So definitely hold more speed on entry going in there, for sure. The last thing for fun, just to have a look then, is the difference between the total braking and the engine braking. So I know Jordan's rolling off the throttle here. His engine brake there is doing negative 0.52 G as he gets into the corner. Other parts of the corner, the circuit, maximum is minus 1.07 G on this particular braking instance. Corner-wise, where are we talking here? Heading into turn 2. Then this one is only negative 0.86, right? Maybe a bit more. 2 seconds here. Just try and bring it. Just get the peak of that. Sorry, negative 0.9. So there can be a touch harder braking had going into this part of the course here. So after the first chicane into this double right-hander, if you like. We were discussing that as well, where Jack is braking a bit later and a bit harder, going in with a bit more speed. So there's definitely a little bit of work to be done there. This braking zone here, this is entry into the chicane, negative 0.8 G. So we can use this as a metric to say that you're braking equally as hard in every instance, you know. So you brake really hard into 2 because the speed's higher, but you could brake just as hard there and there, you know, the kind of way. And then when we get to the end of the lap, obviously we're going to have some massive braking for the hairpin. And you're pulling negative 0.12 G there. You could see what it takes to try and push that out to negative 0.13 G. You know, an extra 0.2 G would be savage. That means you could literally chuck an extra couple of meters onto your braking marker. And, you know, a bit of work to be done there. I have seen the maximum brake G I've seen. I trust a figure of minus 1.35 G here. Not terribly sure if minus 1.5 is acceptable for racing and stuff like that when you're trying to be smooth, but let's go for lean angles now. Left hand corner lean angle in turn 1 is 43 degrees, right? This is why Jack Caldwell is actually going quicker by 8k an hour in there. More on that later. There's an equation you can do to see what you have to do to achieve something more, right? This is turn 2, right hander. You're pulling 52 degrees in there, right? There's a chicane exit. So that's the first part of the right-hander. There is the first part of the chicane. They're all equal. And then you have that there, which is the left-hand side of that chicane. It's only 32 degrees, pretty easy. Then we have, what we got there? 52 degrees again on the first part of the double right-hander. It's pretty consistent all the way through, 52. And then entry into chicane, 47, right? And then your left hand onto the back straight, 52, right? So what it says to me is that in every right-hander, sorry, left-hander, in the left-handers, you're down quite a lot on all your lean angles. So we need to have a look at that and see what's actually up here. That'll be a different conversation, but we can pick that apart and see, is there anything going on with your left hand corners performance wise, because they're not matching your right hand corners. But it's an interesting thing when you find it. So that's all. That's Jordan Grier. Apologies, that's Jordan Larkin. So that's Jordan Larkin. Rider progress summary for his race on the Ulster Superbike Championship in Kirkistown. So yeah, thanks for watching. Bye bye.